Hi, I'm Paula, and this is a little work in progress space where I talk about movies, books, series, or honestly, anything that feels worth sharing. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about a movie that deeply touched me, Train Dreams, available on Netflix. It's not a movie that it talks about the US's landscape. It is actually a mirror of it. A mirror of progress, of grief, of what it means to vanish quietly while the world keeps moving forward. Train Dreams is directed by Clint Bentley and adapted from a book of Denis Johnson's. It is a movie that kind of slows time. It asks us to notice the small things. The wind through the cedar trees, a train horn echoing across the valley, the simple ache of being alive. But do not worry, it's slow, but it does not make you fall asleep. So it is emotional, it is poetic, and honestly, kind of a gut punch in the best way possible. So grab your coffee or tea, tissues, and maybe a flannel for the cozy lumberjack aesthetics. Today we're heading deep into the woods for this one. Let's get to it. So Train Dreams is directed by Clint Bentley, who co-wrote it with his longtime collaborator Greg Kwedar. It's the same duo behind Sing Sing. Bentley's directions carry a deliberate rhythm. It's slow, patient, almost reverent. It's a movie that takes deep breaths and remember that the insane speed that we normally live in right now, it's actually not normal at all. The director brings a documentary sense of truth to the material. You can feel that his background is actually human-centered storytelling. In the many researches that I did about him, I found out that the director Clint Bentley grew up in a ranching family. And when he reads Johnson's book back in the days, he thought it reminded him of people like his grandfather and others that he once looked up to. He said that his uncle was a logger and his dad was a jockey and a horseman. He said that basically his dad was one of the toughest guys he ever met, but then that he could also be one of the tenderest one. That they weren't really educated in the way that we think about it today, about school and stuff, because that's just how things were back in the days. Another thing that I thought it added color to him was why this movie came about, and basically that he started as a fiction writer, studying that, and being very in love with the words on a page, and the sound of words, and where you break a paragraph or not. But then he said that, and here's a quote from him that stuck me deeply. Are you actually telling a story? Well, he said that this is little structural thing about a personal reflection is actually the foundational element. It is that thing that connects the movie Train Dreams to Sing Sing, to a cave painting or an oral poem from ancient times. And that's it. What is that thing that you're trying to communicate? There's all the fun stuff, which is how, and how we get that shot, and how does the edit get us from this shot to the next. Oh, wasn't it beautiful that we seeded this in an early idea of an image? And that is the point. That is what it's great. And then he went deeper into the movie. He said, if the movie Train Dream were words on the paper, they would be on the left side of the page, because there are not many words in the movie. But then there are these moments when you really try to say something, like, what's the preacher in the pulpit line in the movie? Like, what's the moral? Is the hermit in the woods? So I think we got a little bit of a flavor of Mr. Clint and what he's trying to do with the movie. Let's get into it. So the official Rotten Tomatoes short summary of the movie is the following. Orphaned at a young age, Robert grows into adulthood amongst the towering forests of the Pacific Northwest, where he helps expand the nation's world empire alongside men as unforgettable as the landscape that they inhabit. After the tender courtship, he marries Gladys and they build a home together, though his work often takes him far from her and their young daughter. When his life takes an unexpected turn, Robert finds beauty, brutality, and newfound meaning for the forest and the trees that he's felt. So what did I actually see in this movie? Well, I saw the story of this Robert Grenier man, and he is played by the Australian actor Joel Edgerton. So Robert Grenier is a humble logger and railroad worker living through the early 20th century shifting American West. And his life is marked by quiet, tough labor. The movie lingers in silence, in the observing way of life. Throughout the movie, we follow Robert through decades of deep change, of industrialization of the US. But not only. We see the changes in his own life, in society, in ways of working, in relationships, and heart. It is a human-centered storytelling. But the camera does not pity or glorify Robert. It just observes him. And I thought that the actor Joe Edgerton delivered a performance that was built around his eyes. Every tiny little gesture of his feels like the weight of years. He's really trying to tell us something. He almost never speaks during the movie, but when he does, the power of someone who spent their life's years just listening comes through. Now on the screen, it's his face, eyes, and expressions that actually speak. The actress Felicity Jones played Gladys, who is Robert's basically partner in life. We see them falling in love, them starting life together, the struggles of a couple that are not together all the time because of Robert's job. But don't be fooled. She's not basically a weak woman. She's strong. She stays by herself in this outland place most of the year with their child. Now, one thing that I thought it was interesting was because Robert is a logger, we do see tons of trees in the movie. However, the camera makes sure to show us in a majestic way, in a basically strong way from down up, always, almost like the trees are swallowing Robert. And I think that they are characters in the movie, similar of how we see people that come and go in Robert's life. We don't really know how old these trees are and how old the people are around Robert. We just know that very easily both trees and people are put down. It also made me reflect about how many people pass through our lives. Some touch us deeply, some we know nothing about. And it's not that they don't matter, it's just life. It's the rhythm and movements of it. Well, okay, now let's talk about the real star of Train Dreams, the cinematography. It is shot by the Brazilian Adolfo Veloso. No bias here, maybe a little bit. The visuals were absolutely jaw-dropping. We're talking about endless forest glowing sunsets, smoky rail yards, basically all drenched in golden hour light that feels like absolute magic. Each frame feels carved out of light. It's shafts of gold breaking through the pine trees, smoke blurring the edges of reality. The film lives in what in photography is called the magic hour, when the day is surrendering to night and nothing feels permanent. Kind of like what's happening right now. The movie's light is almost treated as a reflection of the main character's emotion. So what I mean is when Robert's life is full, warm, hopeful, light glows with amber tones. When grief and isolation creeps in, it's basically the palette goes to cool light and it turns steel blue and gray almost. It's kind of like if the landscape becomes his mind. And the cinematography doesn't just show nature, it feels in a very documentary way. Wow, what did I think about Train Dreams? It touched me deeply. I don't know why, it gave me kind of a shake-up in life of how real life actually is, because it isn't flashy. It isn't about explosions, award baits, melodrama. It's basically a cinematic poem. It's an ode to ordinary people and extraordinary love. It makes us reflect about progress, history cycles, and who we leave behind and what actually matters. I thought it was not a story about history's great man. It's a story of one single man. And that's often what history forgets. Basically, in that forgetting, the film finds something universal. It is kind of the dose of beauty we're needing in these crazy days that we're living in. Well, thank you very much for listening to me, and until next time, stay cinematic, stay curious, keep on dreaming, and don't forget to tell us what you think on the comments or about the movie or about anything, thoughts that you have. Ciao, ciao!